Welcome to Holistic Health with Melissa, a podcast for women who are ready to stop living in survival mode and start truly healing. I'm Melissa, a holistic trauma and anxiety coach, and here we talk about all things holistic healing for trauma, anxiety, and the nervous system. We blend science, scripture, and somatic work to help you regulate your body, renew your mind, and reconnect with the peace God designed for you to live in. If you're craving real healing, freedom from symptoms, and joy that reaches your mind, body, and spirit, you're in the right place. I instantly felt like tight chest, shallow breathing, like panic, anxiety, pure like panic and distress. I felt physically in my body like I was really unsafe, even though I was like sitting in my basement, right? I was totally safe. There was no immediate danger, but I felt the same way in my body as if I was there in that moment. Hi, friend. Do you feel like you've done all the things? You've tried the therapy, the pills, the diets, and nothing seems to work? You have a great life, but something is still missing. You don't feel energized, alive, or free, but you know that you are called for something more. Then I want you to join me for the 3-day Mind Body Healing Workshop, where we'll blend science, scripture, and somatic work to heal your mind, body, and spirit for real this time. You'll step into whole body restoration, finding joy, freedom from symptoms, and freedom from the chains of trauma that have been holding you back. I cannot wait to see you there. Go to holistichealthbymelissa.com to sign up. Your life will never be the same. Hello, welcome back to Holistic Health with Melissa, holistic healing for trauma, anxiety, and the nervous system. I'm so excited that you are here. Today I want to talk about like trauma specifics, what happens, what trauma is, what it isn't, and what happens inside of us when we experience trauma. So I'm solo today, no guest. And yeah, I felt this come up this week for myself, and I just felt like it's a powerful lesson for all of us, myself included. And I wanted to talk about it. I did a reel on Instagram about it, but I felt like we needed to unpack it kind of in more detail because so many people are struggling with this right now. So I think it was on Sunday, or maybe it was Monday, forgive me, I don't remember exactly the timeline of it, but there was a mass shooting in Australia at Bondi Beach. And I had heard about it, but I didn't really know exactly like what happened. And I think like all of us, we've become kind of desensitized from hearing like, oh, there's a mass shooting, right? I just kind of heard it and it didn't really mean much to me. Other than like, oh dear God, like instantly like praying for the people who are involved, and praying against this evil that has taken root in the world, right? Like Satan is trying to steal, kill, and destroy like he does. So anyway, so I had heard about it, and then Monday morning when I woke up, so I have like my morning routine, and in the winter right now it's like really cold, so it's like still really dark outside when when I wake up quite early, like way before my kids, so I can have my morning time. I have things that I like to do: meditation, workout, my breath work, journaling, things like that. Every day kind of looks a little bit different depending on what I feel like I need. But so this morning I woke up about 4:45 and went to my basement to start my morning routine. And I did something a little unusual for me, which is that I checked my phone, checked social media first thing in the morning. Typically, I'm pretty good at not checking my phone first thing in the morning because it's easy to get sucked in. And then before you know it, I've lost like 30 minutes of my morning routine, right? And I really value that time for myself. So, this particular morning, I checked my phone first. I don't know why. I just went, into Instagram, and it instantly was met with a video of the shooting at Bondi Beach. And not just like, not that it really matters, but like it was like actual footage of the shooters shooting their guns into a crowd of people, which was very like alarming to me and to my nervous system. And the very next video was another video from a different angle of the same exact thing. And so I was immediately in a state of like shock and disbelief and activation. My nervous system was completely activated. I felt, my own experience has been that, like I survived a school shooting when I was 15 years old, and that was a big, it was a big deal to my nervous system, to my life, to, what I do now. It's always a big deal, right? To everybody who ever goes through anything like that. But that was a pivotal, it was a turning point in my life. And it's one of the biggest events that I've ever been through. And so this experience, like witnessing, whenever I hear anything about a shooting, it does kind of activate me a little bit, but seeing the footage was really activating and really raw, and my nervous system just went crazy. I instantly felt like tight chest, shallow breathing, like panic, anxiety, um, pure like panic and distress. I felt physically in my body like I was really unsafe, even though I was like sitting in my basement, right? I was totally safe. There was no immediate danger, but I felt the same way in my body as if I was there in that moment in real time in an active shooting situation. My body remembered exactly what it was like to be there in that time back in 2001 when I experienced it as a 15-year-old. But yeah, I felt like I was like, my chest tightened, and I was like, I started hyperventilating, and my thoughts were racing, and I felt really panicked and heavy and dizzy and nauseous and like all the physical things. And I realized kind of like in that moment, I realized, oh my goodness, everybody else, whether you survived a school shooting or not, but like everybody else who's witnessing that video, that footage, that exposure to these acts of violence that are like literally just on our cell phones now. Um, Everybody else who's experiencing that, who's witnessing that, is going through the same thing. Like their nervous system, your nervous system, if you're seeing that kind of stuff, is activated. Maybe you don't realize it, but it is actually activating a response inside of you that is signaling danger to your body. So, and that's like a biological reality, right? Like that's what the nervous system is designed to do. If it senses danger, it's going to activate, it's going to respond because you need to fight or run, right? So this isn't like a sign of weakness or you're not overreacting. There's nothing wrong with you. If you feel like this is happening to you, it's actually quite normal. And I think more people are experiencing it than are talking about it for sure. And that's why I wanted to talk about it because I feel like it's insane. And that's my first point really is like this is not normal. Our nervous system is not designed to be exposed to this type of evil. And like people would only ever be exposed to this kind of stuff when they would go away to war. If they were in the military involved in a war or like a massive like natural disaster or something tragedy in their, in their hometown or and now it's like available to us like I opened Instagram and it was the first video. That's actually the same thing that happened to me with Charlie Kirk's assassination is it was the first video that popped up on my feed. I did not go searching for that video, and it was the very first thing that popped up. So it's almost like I didn't have any Obviously I had a choice because I opened the app. I picked up my phone and looked at it, right? But like I didn't have a choice of what I was going to be exposed to. And I think that's like the biggest, you know, aha is like, oh my gosh, like this is not normal. This used to only be reserved for people who were going to war, and those people who are coming back, if you've ever read like The Body Keeps the Score or done any research on traumas, like, or even just know anything about trauma, like we all know that people who go to war, combat veterans, come back traumatized, right? And they have PTSD and dissociation and anxiety and depression and panic and insomnia and, you know, drug and alcohol addiction problems because they're trying to soothe that piece inside of them that is traumatized. So that's point number one is like, this is not normal. We should not be experiencing this on our phones. And I think the first step, what I always tell people is like, first step is always awareness. So knowing that this is not normal. And then also, like, trauma is not the event, it's what happens inside of you as a result of that event. And that's Gabor Mate's quote. And he's done a ton of, work on trauma and how it impacts, development and relationships and all kinds of things. But it's not the event. It's what happens inside of you as a result of that event. So to use my experience as an example is like, yes, you could categorize the shooting as a trauma, but it's what happened inside of me as a result of that traumatic experience. And what happened inside of me can still get triggered like it did for me to the point where I felt like I was in an active shooter situation when I was sitting on my couch in my basement. And that's why like two people can go through the same exact event and have two very different experiences. It's like they've done a lot of research on siblings and how, um, two siblings can grow up in the same households, like, with the same mother and father, but Gabor Mate says this is no two siblings have the same mom and dad because we all show up differently in every relationship. I even like myself, I think of that with my own children. Like I show up as a different mom to my youngest and my oldest, despite my best efforts, right? Like, and things that happen in our life, in our day, and my past, and all of that are what lays the foundation, lays the groundwork for how I show up in those relationships. So when we talk about that, like two people experiencing the same event and having totally different experiences, it really comes back down to capacity, past experiences, support systems, and our nervous system health. And capacity is like what your nervous system has the ability to hold in that moment. So if you're already like stressed, exhausted, overwhelmed, sleep deprived, maybe, or anything like that, your capacity is lower. Something that might feel manageable otherwise on like a regulated day can be completely overwhelming on this on a any other day, right? When your system is already maxed out. And the past experiences matter because your nervous system is patterned by what it has lived through before. And our nervous system is a system of predictability. So based on our past experiences, our nervous system is going to predict what is going to happen in this situation. If you have a history of trauma and abuse and neglect and violence and all of those things, your body learns to stay on high alert. So when you see something disturbing, maybe an image, maybe a person kind of gives you the heebie-jeebies, your nervous system is not just responding to what's happening right now, it's responding to everything that moment reminds it of. And you're not even consciously thinking about it a lot of times. You're not even really aware. Some people are not even aware of the thoughts that are playing into that. Because The nervous system is a system of predictability. It responds to that threat before you even have the conscious thought about it. And then support systems play a huge role because like trauma is not the event, it's what happens inside of you as a result of that event. And when you have really highly emotional events happen and you're processing it or going through it in what feels like aloneness, maybe your capacity has already been reached, so you have a trauma response that forms inside of you. So if you grow up in like a really safe environment with safe caregivers who help you process your emotions in a healthy way, and um, your body learned that stress could actually like move through you and resolve. Versus if you didn't have that, you kind of learn to deal with things alone, and then your nervous system can default to that activated state, that fight, flight, freeze, or shutdown. Um, Fight, flight, fawn, or freeze is what I meant. um, so trauma is less about what happened and the event of what happened, and more about what happens inside of us, and the support that we had to process and deal with that event while it happened or afterwards. And then nervous system health and how flexible and resilient it is, like a well supported nervous system can move into stress and back into safety really easily. That's nervous system regulation. But a dysregulated nervous system gets stuck there. So if you're already like prone, if your capacity was low and you already had exposure to these things, these types of events, and you didn't have support, then you develop this chronic dysregulation. Then any subsequent exposure to any event that reminds your system that it is that of the original event creates that sense of danger and reactivates an already activated system. So, and then that leads to, chronic stress responses, inflammation, all kinds of other things. And so it's important to remember like trauma is not the event, but it's what happens inside of you as a result of that event. And it's not like a character flaw. It's not something that you've done wrong. It doesn't mean you're dramatic or weak or anything. It's biology. It's about the nervous system doing exactly what it's supposed to do, what it's designed to do to keep you alive, because that's the number one goal of the nervous system, is keep you alive. And that's also why I know for a fact from my own personal experience and the hundreds of women that I've helped that healing is always possible. You can increase your capacity. You can rewire your nervous system. You can process these past experiences and build that support into your life so you can strengthen your nervous system health, your resilience, and then those stimuli no longer are going to like hijack that response from you. So that's kind of like the breakdown of trauma that I use in my practice, and want you to hear that all of those things are going to go into like whether or not you are exposed to this like really or whether or not you are triggered, I guess, for lack of a better term. I hate that term, but by an event that you are exposed to. And this leads into like my second point, which is the mind-body connection and why it's so, so important. And I talk about this all the time with my clients, is it's processing through trauma and doing somatic work and healing from trauma and regulating your nervous system. It's not about like the mind, like you have to just like think better, or you have to think positive, or say affirmations, or just pray harder, or anything like that. And it's also not fully just about like your body. It's both pieces together. I believe trauma has this way of making us feel like we're alone and really crafting negatively like our belief about who we are. It changes our identity. and we start to believe that we are broken and flawed and not worthy and not lovable and all of those things. And those that all lives in our head, but the physical response lives in our body. So it's so much the mind and it's so much the body. And that's why I talk so much about the mind body connection. This chronic stress and, like if you're, people think like if you just have like a negative, if you're like pessimistic, if you just have a negative perception of life, people think it's just your thoughts, right? And while that is true, it is your thoughts. What's not true is that it's just your thoughts. It's negative thoughts and negative thinking and thought patterns and negative stress responses actually moves into your biology. There's like anytime you have a negative thought or a stressful thought or anything like that, you actually send signals, little alarm bells in your body that there is something dangerous. Danger, danger, danger. It says to your body. Those thoughts say to your body. And then when you have that cascade, that trigger that initiates those thoughts that tells your body there's danger, we start to pump out cortisol and adrenaline, and those are our stress hormones. And in the acute circumstance, those are really helpful. But in the long-term circumstance, they're not helpful because if you experience that over and over and over again, you start to, like I did when I saw that footage, right? Like I experienced that even though danger wasn't actually there. So like when you experience it over and over and over again, when danger's not actually there, when you're just thinking about it, that's the problem because that circulation, constant circulation of those stress hormones drives inflammation in the body, eventually leading to physical symptoms like anxiety, fatigue, autoimmune disorders, pain, hormone imbalance, disrupted or impaired digestion, skin issues. Like all of those physical symptoms come directly from a nervous system dysregulation. And the two cannot be separated. And that's why when I work with clients, I work so much on the mind and the body at the same time. Like you can't just work on the the mindset, and you can't just do the body work. You have to do both at the same time in order to achieve full healing because your body has to believe it, but also your thoughts have to be on board. Um, and the third point is I wanted to make is that I wanted to just point out that like this experience that I experienced this school shooting 24 years ago, it was in 2001. I experienced, I survived that school shooting and it's 2025, the end of 2025 right now, coming up on 2026. So we're coming up on 25 years since that experience, that event that happened to me. And I was still triggered 25 years later. And I am an experienced somatic practitioner. I'm very knowledgeable on trauma, and I've been doing this work for over 20 years myself personally. I've gone through tons of therapy, EMDR, trauma work, body work, somatic work, all of these things. And it took me when I saw that video and I felt activation, I recognized it immediately for what it was, put my phone down, and instantly went and met myself with compassion and curiosity. And I went, oh my gosh, I'm feeling really activated right now. What is going on? Why do I feel so activated right now? And I went, oh my gosh, I just saw that video. Yeah. Closed my eyes and I just like breathed into that anxiety. And I met that little, teenage self of mine. And she was terrified. And she was upset. She was crying. She was panicked. She felt scared. She felt like there was danger because there was, as far as she could tell, right? And it took me a solid 15 minutes of being with myself, my current self, and that younger version of me with my body, breathing, focusing on bringing myself back down out of activation. It took me a solid 15 minutes to come back down into regulation again. So that's a super powerful, I think, thing to remember is that like even somebody who's experienced can still be activated and um still require time to come back down, right? It's not like regulation is not an instant, even for trained professionals, right? So we're going to do a little activity here, a little practice here in a second, but I wanted to make the last point, which is I just kind of alluded to it right now, but nervous system regulation is not a destination. It is a home that you return to over and over and over again when stress arises, when things come up, right? When you feel triggered. Um, Being regulated doesn't mean that you're never overwhelmed or you're never stressed or nothing ever gets to you. Like, of course, things still happen. You still can feel stressed. Still can be triggered. But the difference is when you lead from a regulated, grounded state, A, you recognize it faster. B, you can ask for help and support when you need it. Because remember, processing highly emotional events by yourself in what feels like aloneness is the landscape in which trauma occurs. And then you're able to return to that balanced state more quickly. And it's really more of just like a relationship with your body regulation, not like a performance or a checkbox or something that like you do once and then you're just like done. Like you're just regulated and there's no no like other issues. That's not how it works. So the moral of the story is like whenever things happen, I just, I challenge you, I encourage you to meet yourself with compassion and curiosity instead of judgment. Like if you notice yourself getting triggered or you notice a physical sensation that you don't want, maybe it's anxiety, maybe it's pain or frustration or anger or any number of things. If you notice something, like I challenge you to just put your hands on your heart and just meet yourself with curiosity and compassion, non-judgment. Like, what is going on? Why am I feeling this anger? Why am I feeling this anxiety or grief or pain or whatever? And just meeting yourself where you are and allowing yourself to be seen, heard, and loved because that's really what we all want. That can make a huge difference. Just recognizing that physical sensation in your body. Awareness is always the first step. And then asking yourself, like, where is this coming from? And how can I support myself through this? A lot of times just breathing, which is what we're going to do now. So, um, yeah, we're going to do just short, like 5-10 minute somatic exercise to just kind of give you a little bit of a taste. I've never done this on the podcast before, but thought it would be really helpful since we're talking about it. So um, yeah. Okay. Before we begin, find a comfortable position, seated, like the chair, just holding your weight. Just feel your body being held by the chair and place your feet firmly on the ground. Or if you're lying down, just feel the earth supporting you, the ground beneath you supporting you. If it feels safe, allow your eyes to close or just gently lower and soften your gaze. There's nothing you need to fix or change or force right now. This is simply an invitation to just notice and allow. And let's just start with our breath. Taking a slow inhale and exhale through your nose. Let the breath gently expand your rib cage into your belly. Inhaling in through your nose and exhaling through your mouth like you're fogging up a mirror. And again, inhaling through your nose, exhaling through your mouth. One more time. Inhale, exhale. I just want you to notice your body soften into this breath just a little bit more. If your mind wanders, that's okay. If you get distracted by noise or thoughts, just gently bring your attention back to your breath. I want you to bring your attention to the top of your head. Notice any sensations there, warmth, coolness, pressure, tingling, tension, maybe nothing at all. There's no right or wrong. Don't force anything. And slowly moving your awareness down to your forehead and your brow, your cheeks and your jaw. Just noticing any sensations that you might feel. If it feels okay, just imagine softening the skin around those areas, the muscles around your eyes relaxing. Many of us hold stress in our jaw without even realizing it. See if your teeth can just gently separate and let your tongue just rest loosely in your mouth. Now moving down to your neck and your throat. This area often tightens when we feel unsafe or unheard. So just imagine your breath moving gently through this area, creating just a little more space as you breathe. Bringing your awareness down to your shoulders. Notice if they're lifted or braced or tense. There's no need to force them down or change anything. Just allow gravity to support them as you exhale. Moving down your arms, your upper arms, then your elbows, forearms, wrists, hands, fingers. Notice any sensations, heaviness or tightness or tenderness or tingling or nothing at all. If your hands want to open or close, just let them do that. Now bringing your attention to your chest. This is where most of our emotions live. Just notice what's present. And if it feels okay, just place one hand on your chest, one hand over your heart, if it feels supportive. Just notice the warmth of your hand, the comfort of your own touch, feeling your chest move with each breath. Moving down to your belly. This is a powerful place of intuition and safety. It's the center of safety. Most people feel in their belly if they are guarded or uneasy, uncertain. Just notice if your belly feels tight or guarded in any way. With your next inhale, imagine the breath gently reaching this belly space, softening just a little. Moving your awareness down to your hips and your pelvis. Notice the contact between your body and the chair or the floor. Just allow yourself to feel supported here. Moving down to your thighs, your knees, your lower legs, ankles, feet, and toes. Notice where your feet make contact with the earth. And just imagine roots growing out of your feet into the earth. Steady, stable, supportive. And taking another slow inhale through your nose. And as you exhale through your mouth, just imagine your entire body becoming heavier and more supported by whatever's beneath you. Continuing to breathe, inhaling gently, exhaling slowly. Now bring your awareness to your body as one whole connected system. From the top of your head to the soles of your feet, notice any shifts, even subtle. Maybe you feel calmer, or maybe you feel the same. Maybe you just feel tired. All of it is welcome. None of it is wrong. Before we close, just want you to, in this moment, silently say to yourself, in this moment, I am safe. In this moment, I am safe. My body is allowed to rest. I can return here anytime I need to. Take one last deep inhale through your nose. Exhale through your mouth. And when you feel ready, go ahead and open your eyes. I hope that was wonderful for you. And just remember, you can return to this place anytime. You can carry this grounded sense of yourself through the day and have it with you. You can come back to it anytime you need. It's always available to you. And this is true nervous system regulation and trauma integration. This episode resonated with you, please share it with a friend and leave us a review so we can spread the word, because this is not just a message. This is a movement. See you next time. Hey everyone, thank you so much for tuning in to Holistic Health with Melissa. It is such an honor to have you here. If you found value in today's episode, would you share it with a friend who might need it too and leave us a review? If you have questions or topic suggestions, reach out on social media or visit our website, holistichealthbymelissa.com, and take care. I'll catch you on the next episode.